As promised, Tide fans, we've got a real treat. We're at the Paul Bryant Museum here in Tuscaloosa, and to take us on a tour, we've got Mr. Ken Gaddy. Ken, by the way, has got one of the best jobs in the world. He just gets to hang out here and enjoy all this great stuff. Thanks so much for being with us this week, Ken.
I appreciate you coming down, and it is a great job because we meet all the great Tide fans and some of the former greats that come back, so the best part's the people we get to meet.
Quite a show you guys put on here. It's beautiful. I've been walking around, and I'm anxious to get started.
Well, it's a lot of fun. Let's get to it.
Ken, it looks like this is where it all got started.
Well, this is really where we do start here in the museum. We have a timeline of Alabama football. We start with the first player, William Gray Little, in 1892, and the exhibits go through time.
No doubt. I was looking at this uniform here behind us. Is this Bobby Jackson's uniform?
No, he played a little after. This is a 1906 uniform, one of the earliest artifacts we have here in the museum. So it's not Mr. Jackson's, but he came a little while after that.
Coach, I think you look great in that uniform. Let's move on over this way. This looks like Alabama's first Rose Bowl.
Yeah, Wallace Wade was really Alabama's first great coach. Really got the tradition started, took the teams to the Rose Bowl, really established Alabama as a national power. And really, this is kind of really the beginnings with Wallace Wade. Is really when Alabama came off and became a national power.
It looks like now, Ken, we've moved from the Wallace Wade era into the Frank Thomas era.
That's right. Alabama's next great coach, Frank Thomas, was also Coach Bryant's coach. This is the era of the Howell to Hudson famous passing duo. Don Hudson had the NFL records for years and years and years. All the records that have been broken in the last few years were established by Mr. Hudson in a fairly short time in the NFL. Great trips to the Rose Bowl. The SEC is formed during this time. First SEC championship is won in this era. So Coach Thomas not only was a great coach, but a great man and a big part of the Alabama football history.
Ken, here we have one of those exhibits. If you come to the museum here in Tuscaloosa, you really don't need any type of an explanation. For the benefit of those watching, take us on a bit of a tour of this one.
Yeah, this is really one of our most popular exhibits by far. This is a recreation of Coach Bryant's office. This is his actual desk, some of the items from his office. And one of the things that the former players always mention is sitting on this couch over here. They said it was almost like it had no legs on it. It sits real low, it's real soft. They'd sit down, they'd sink way down low, and their eyes would be about desk level. And Coach Bryant would be towering up above them. There was a big picture window behind him, the light would be pouring in, and it'd take him a long time before he spoke to him and said seemed like eternity sitting there waiting on Coach Bryant. So they knew they were in trouble. They had to sit on that desk, and we hear those stories a lot about players coming back in that couch over there.
Ken, this one looks like quite a trophy case.
Well, this is really a mixture of items that have to do with the great success story of Coach Bryant. Things like his military uniform. He was an officer during World War II. A couple of items from some of his great players, Joe Namath's traveling jacket. One of my favorites, Woodrow Lowe's jerseys in here. The practice jacket that Coach Bryant liked to wear. And perhaps my favorite of all are the 6 national championship rings. And when we have recruits coming in, we like to say, how about letting us get one more of those and see if you can help us out with that.
Absolutely. You don't have one that would fit me, do you?
Oh, I don't know. We might have one that would fit you. Right. One of the favorites of visitors is this Waterford Crystal reproduction of Coach Bryant's hat. Brombrooks Jewelers, based in Birmingham, sent a courier, just like you would with the crown jewels of England, in a sealed case, took one of Coach Bryant's hats to Ireland, to the Waterford factory, and where they make all their crystal, just like people can buy, but each thing is handmade. So this is a handmade, one-of-a-kind reproduction of Coach Bryant's houndstooth hat. Here we are with 2 of the many national championship trophies. There are several organizations that give trophies. Obviously, here we are with another Waterford Crystal, the CNN USA Today National Championship Trophy. Here we are in Coach Stalin's era. A great man, a great father. His son Johnny worked with us when they were here in Tuscaloosa. So we got really close with Coach Stallings and with their family, and they're great people.
Ken, here we are again at an exhibit that's one of those, if you are here at the museum, it certainly doesn't need any explaining. It is a tribute to one of the late great Bama players.
Right. It really started out as a temporary exhibit. Derek Thomas was going to receive his degree, and his family was here, his mother and some of his other family members will be in town, and they loaned us some items, and we were going to have it out for that weekend. Well, his mother was here and so impressed with what we had done, she said we could have those items. So we were able to share those, not only for the people in for that one day, but continuing and let people remember and honor the memory of a great player and a great man.
A very classy guy he was, and a classy exhibit this is. Ken, as we move on through the Bryant Museum, it looks like we've stumbled into the dressing room.
Yeah, the idea of this exhibit is called Echoes of Heroes, and it's to honor and pay tribute to all those people that aren't necessarily on the field that help the program go, the assistant coaches, the managers, the trainers, the cheerleaders, those kind of people that really are part of the operation but aren't on camera all the time, kind of behind the scenes people that make Alabama football what it is and what it has been.
Again, it looks like we've moved into where the internal workings take place here at the Bryant Museum.
Yeah, here's some behind the scenes looks at what we do here on a day-to-day basis. We're back in our video area right now where Gary Shores, our video specialist, and Kenny Denton, our film repair technician, take care of all the old game films, transfer them tape, and get them ready for the media to use and for the museum to use to highlight the history of Alabama football.
Ken, as we proceed on through the inner workings of the Bryant Museum, it looks like we've stumbled upon quite an archive.
That's right. One of the things that happens here is we have lots of researchers. Now that means everything from fourth graders doing Alabama history through professional writers. For example, the Winston Groom book that came out a year or so ago. A lot of that research is done here at the museum, and we're standing now in our library. There are about 5,500 books, mainly on Alabama football.
As we move on down the hall here, this looks to be like quite an impressive video archive that you've got. We talked a little bit about this might just be the world's largest football video archive, huh?
Not only do we have the game films, but we have also some of the supporting material, things done by media outlets, interviews, those kind of things. Some home movies are added to our collection. And we get those things, one from what the university made, what the media makes, and what from individuals make. So it's still important to us for people to make donations of those types of items to add to our collection, to help us tell the story better, and really for us to do exhibits and programs and make items available for researchers down the road. Is important to us to have people donate to the museum.
Ken, we've just about been all the way through the museum. We've seen, of course, the exhibits and we've seen the internal workings, but it wouldn't be right to leave the Bryant Museum without taking a look at this piece.
Yeah, this is John David Crow's Heisman Trophy. We were in the process of changing from one exhibit to another as we were evolving, changing the museum. The photographs you see around it are items that Taylor Watson and his staff, our curator, are working on for a new exhibit that will show for a reunion of the 1961 National Championship team. So the museum is a dynamic, evolving, changing place. So exhibits will come and go, but the history's still here. It's our job, hopefully, to tell that story for the Alabama fan.
Ken, before we leave, for the benefit of those watching that would like to make a trip up here to Tuscaloosa, and I do encourage that, this is great, give us the times the museum's open and the cost of admission.
All right, we're open 7 days a week, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. They can give us a call at area code 205-348-4668 for more information. We're also open for special tours, for after-hour tours for groups, and we're open for special receptions that if people have a big group that coming into town, we can take care of.
Folks, we certainly hope you've enjoyed this tour of the Paul Bryant Museum here in Tuscaloosa, and I certainly hope you'll get a chance to come up and take a look at it. I want to thank you, Mr. Ken Gaddy, director here at the Bryant Museum, for this wonderful tour.
Thanks for coming, and roll tide.
Roll Tide, roll.